So, what if I told you that one of the most powerful forces for creating progress is, well, destruction? I know, it sounds like a complete contradiction, right? But it's actually the very engine that powers our modern world. Today, let's dive into the architecture of creative destruction.
And that's the big question, isn't it? It feels like an oxymoron, a total puzzle. But this very paradox is the absolute key to understanding how our economies grow. How can tearing something down also be the act of building something new and, in the end, something much, much better?
You see, this isn't just some clever turn of phrase. It's a fundamental economic puzzle. And unpacking it is how we're going to understand the real driver behind long-term growth and innovation.
So, what are we really talking about here? At its heart, creative destruction is this constant process of out with the old, in with the new. Think of it this way. A new innovation doesn't just add something to the economy, it actively dismantles and replaces whatever came before it.
It's really two sides of the very same coin. On one hand, you've got the destruction. Old technologies becoming obsolete, companies with outdated business models failing, whole industries shrinking. But that decline isn't the end of the story. It actually frees up all those resources, the money, the people, the talent, for the creation side. And that's what fuels brand new, disruptive innovations and markets that push the entire economy forward.
So how does this all work? Is it just chaos? Not at all. This isn't random. It's a predictable, systematic engine. Creative destruction is basically the machine that turns raw innovation into real, tangible, long-term economic progress.
And this cycle really lays it out perfectly. First, a new idea or technology pops up. That innovation then completely disrupts the old way of doing things, right? It challenges all the established companies. Now, as that old guard starts to stumble, its resources, we're talking factories, employees, investments, get reallocated to the new, more promising ventures. And here's the most important part. This whole reshuffling leads to an overall jump in productivity. The economy as a whole just gets better.
Now, the basic idea of creative destruction has been around for a while, but two economists really formalized it into this powerful theory of growth. Their work is so important, it's considered Nobel-worthy. So let's meet the architects themselves, Felipe Aghion and Peter Howitt. These are the guys who built the modern framework for understanding how this incredible engine of growth actually works.
And this quote right here, this highlights their key insight. See, they weren't just describing a one-time event. They developed a theory for sustained growth. They figured out how this cycle could just keep repeating over and over, continuously pushing our economy to brand new heights.
Of course, it's not that simple. This powerful engine doesn't just run on its own. It's not automatic. Aghion and Howitt figured out that it needs a very specific environment, kind of like the right fuel and the right mechanics, to keep firing on all cylinders.
So what does this engine need? Well, first up, you need competitive markets, so new companies actually have a fighting chance to challenge the old guard. Next, you've got to have protection for intellectual property. That's what encourages people to come up with those brilliant new ideas in the first place. You also need serious investment in education and R&D to, generate those ideas. And finally, you need flexible markets, so people and money can move smoothly from the dying sectors to the new growing ones. Without all these pieces in place, the engine just stalls.
Okay, so that's the theory. But why is this so important for us to understand right now? Because, honestly, it's the lens through which we can make sense of the ridiculously fast changes happening all around us.
Think about it. It's the story of the tech startup that completely upends a legacy industry. It's why streaming services took over from cable television. It's the shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy. This theory explains the pattern behind all of these massive economic shifts. The constant churn, it isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's how it's supposed to work.
Let's put some hard numbers to this, just to see how dramatic it is. If you go back to the 1950s, a top company was like a fortress. On average, it could expect to stay in that top spot for about 60 years. 60! That's a lifetime. There was a real sense of stability.
Okay, now let's look at today. That lifespan has absolutely plummeted to less than 18 years, and it's probably still falling. Now, this isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that the engine of creative destruction is spinning faster and faster than ever before. The cycle of innovation and replacement is accelerating like crazy.
And that really brings us to our final thought for today. As we look out at the horizon, at AI, at biotechnology, at space exploration, we're left with this huge, fascinating question to think about.
What established industries, what old ways of doing things are on the verge of being dismantled to make way for something completely new? What do you think will be the next great creative destruction?